Hello, my name is Russell Myers. Welcome to Issues Unite. So, anybody that has been paying attention knows that Ukraine has been requesting fighter jets. They started requesting the fighter jets within milliseconds after being told that countries were going to give them tanks. But there are a lot of problems that are involved here. Number one, there are a lot of most Western countries, NATO countries, do not want to give up these fighter jets. They're debating this over whether this is going to literally, directly start World War III, a direct confrontation between NATO and Russia. Now, allegedly, there's a lot of unsubstantiated stuff going on around this, but allegedly there are pilots that are training in the UK on, I think they're Cyclone jets. I might have the name wrong, but why are you training them on these? If the talk is about giving them F-16s or whatever, then that training doesn't really cross over. Different jets handle very differently. And, there have been, reports that have come out that Ukrainian jets that were used to flying MiGs, if you try to train them on F-16s, then they fail the training, because it is so different, and they can't give up the reflexes and training from the MiG and cross over to actually learn how to handle an F-16 effectively. There was an unsubstantiated rumor that some of the pilots, the Ukrainian pilots, that went to the UK to train on these jets, as soon as they landed, they requested political asylum, which was denied. Again, that is an unsubstantiated rumor. Big problems with jets would be, where are they going to land and take off from? Ukraine had an air force at the beginning of this conflict, and it was completely wiped out. They've got a few jets and helicopters, a handful, and still those are just getting knocked out. They don't have an effective air force anymore. If they weren't able to handle it, then why would they be able to now? You have to assume that their best pilots were the ones that were flying at the beginning of the conflict. Then, okay, airstrips to land and take off from. They've all been already destroyed. You rebuild them, they're going to get destroyed again. So you would have to put these jets in NATO territory. That is a big problem. They would have to be placed in Poland and so forth, Germany, wherever, which, for one thing, you extend the flight time so they're not able to engage in aerial combat for long before they're going to have to head back because they're going to run out of fuel. But just the fact that they're flying out of NATO territory, how do you even know who is flying that jet? Whether it's a Ukrainian, somebody from Poland, somebody from Germany, an American, you don't know who's flying that jet. Anyway, so I am not expecting that they are going to receive fighter jets. I could be wrong. But, we just have to wait and see. Russia launched a major, the largest aerial attack in some time for the last 2 days. And this one has been different. They have been hitting things that they were not hitting before, and they are still hitting energy infrastructure and also hitting transportation, trains. So they're knocking out the ability for the Ukrainians to transport troops and equipment to the front. In addition, they have hit a bridge that connects eastern and western Odessa. Odessa straddles a river. Now, that bridge had been attacked on the surface before, but this time they used a sea drone to knock out the supports for the bridge. Now, this is also an indication that some people believe that Russia may also use sea drones to go up the Dnieper River and knock out any remaining bridges that are straddling the Dnieper River, which would cause major logistical problems because the Dnieper River basically bisects Ukraine. You knock out all those bridges, and you're not going to be able to cross the Dnieper River, period. So that would be a form of a certain level of operational encirclement for the forces that are in eastern Ukraine on the front lines. A Ukrainian official has stated that Ukrainian forces, their ammunition is basically at zero balance. And this seems to be pretty well quantified. There have been verified reports that the Ukrainians sent a brigade of newly trained soldiers, I think, toward Bakhmut. They didn't make it to Bakhmut, but with no ammunition. Yeah, I mean, which front line they were headed toward doesn't matter, but they had no ammunition, and this has been verified. Well, the Russians figured out that this brigade had no ammunition and basically fired warning shots at them, and that brigade understandably turned around and got the hell out of there. Wouldn't you? I mean, this isn't, this is no sign of cowardice. This is wanting to live. Yeah, your soldiers are not going to willingly go into a combat situation with no ammunition, none. Anyway, the aerial attacks have also been hitting for days now, maybe a couple of weeks. Russia has been hitting ammo depots. They took out like 10 ammo depots just in the last 24 to 48 hours. So if Ukraine was already low on ammunition, which they were, that's not a question, and now you're hitting all the ammo depots, you pretty much wiped out their ammunition supply. Anyway, so NATO, including the United States, does not produce enough, collectively, do not produce enough ammunition to replace the amount of ammunition that is being used or destroyed at all. The amount of ammunition that we in the United States produce in a month is only enough to supply 2 days of what Ukraine is using. They're firing 6,000 artillery rounds a day. We produce maybe 15,000 a month, so 2.5 days maximum. The Western countries have not been focusing on producing weapons and ammunition in such large amounts. Russia has been doing this for years. They have built up that manufacturing capacity because they have felt threatened by the encroachment of NATO toward their border and seeing what was happening with Ukraine. So they planned for this. Anyway, so you do not just suddenly change your industrial abilities to make weapons. That takes special facilities and training, and then etc. It doesn't matter how many tanks or howitzers or whatever that you send into Ukraine. If the bridges are knocked out, the logistics are destroyed, there is no ammunition, there's no fuel to supply these things. So it's rendered moot. It's useless to do this. The only people that are going to benefit from this are the weapons manufacturers, period. That's it. Yeah, you might as well just turn around and just hand the money to the weapons manufacturers. Thanks, have a good day. Because that's what's happening. In conjunction with this aerial assault, Russia has also announced that they are ready to negotiate with no preconditions. If there are preconditions, then forget it. And that's understandable, because the preconditions from the West have been that Russia completely withdraw from Ukraine, including Crimea, and they are not going to do this. They hold the upper hand. All right, so Russia, you know that more sanctions on oil products, processed oil products from Russia, came into effect on Sunday. And they said that they were going to discuss and come up with a response to this. So now they have announced their response to this. Russia is going to decrease oil production by 500,000 barrels a day, 500,000 barrels a day. Keep in mind, Russia is part of OPEC Plus. Back in November, OPEC Plus reduced oil production by 2 million barrels a day. So this is on top of that, bringing it to a global oil production reduction of 2.5 million barrels a day. So keep an eye out. Your energy and gas prices are about to go up again. They've been going up. They're going to go up more. You ready for that? Okay. Now, Russia has been on an offensive, local offensives in several areas along the front line. Bakhmut is effectively operationally encircled. There are 2 roads that are still open between, in and out of Bakhmut, but they are under fire control from Russian forces. Anything moving on those roads is going to be targeted. So that is effective operational encirclement. And there are at least 10,000 Ukrainian soldiers that are going to be just trapped in Bakhmut. So their only choice is going to be fight to the death or surrender. That's it. Vuhledar has been more difficult, apparently, but it looks like they have, like Russia has, almost completely reached operational encirclement of Vuhledar. There are thousands of soldiers there, and so that one is going to come to an end as well. Every place along the front line, Russia has been advancing, taking more territory, cutting off transportation routes for the Ukrainian forces on the front lines. So this is, I've said many, many times, I don't want anybody to die. I'd rather see them surrender than die. But you can't make them do that. And, whatever. I'm hoping that this is, but anyway, the Russian, this aerial bombardment across Ukraine, the destruction of the ammo depots, this has been a much more aggressive movement than we have seen at any point. So Russia is getting ready for a major offensive to move forward from this point on. But still, in conjunction with, every time that Russia says, we're ready to negotiate, the West says, oh, well, they're running out of ammunition. Well, how are you going to say they're running out of ammunition while they're launching 60,000 artillery rounds a day, and they launch a major aerial assault across Ukraine? No, they're not running out of ammunition. This is preparation for a major offensive to weaken the capability of the Ukrainian forces before they do so. They're going to make the entire Ukrainian front line collapse. That's all there is to it. We can really only hope that Ukraine will finally come to the bargaining table, but I don't expect it. I expect that Zelensky is going to stand up there demanding fighter jets. They've been saying, we need these tanks right now. We need ammunition right now. What we've been getting has been too little and too slow. So I don't expect that they're going to come to the bargaining table until they just don't have any choice. They're going to wait until Kiev is surrounded. And that is when they might come to the bargaining table. So, but we can hope. We can always cross our fingers. And let's hope that the Ukrainian people say, okay, that's enough, just stop. But if you do that in Ukraine, you're going to be arrested. You might be executed. Whatever, they're going to say that you're a Russian sympathizer just because you don't want any more of your countrymen dying. You don't want any more to lose more of your country. But what is the goal here? What is the goal? say complete, the complete defeat of Russia. How likely does that look? It's never going to happen. Anyway, share this video. Talk about these subjects. If you can afford it, please donate whatever you can to help expand this channel and my presidential campaign, and I will catch you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a good day.